Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and she's back. Sherri Papini is back in the community. Uh, so soon, because she did not get nearly enough prison time as I thought she should have. So let me just tell you what's happened. Let me read this to you. Sherri Papini has been transferred from the satellite camp adjacent to the federal correctional institution, Victorville Medium 1, long name for a prison, but all right, 2, community confinement on August 16th. The Federal Bureau of Prisons Sacramento Residential Reentry Management Office oversees this program, but the FBOP could not confirm where Papini would be living or the conditions of her confinement, citing privacy. All right. Apparently she didn't want privacy when she did this hoax where she where she went jogging and then she went missing, and the whole country searched for her, and her children were without their mommy, and her husband was wondering what happened to his wife, and everybody's begging, please find Sherri, please find Sherri. She didn't care, and then she reappeared with bruises and I was kidnapped, I was kept in some dungeon, and and then it took them way too long to figure out she was a lying dog, and that she had set this whole thing up, and that she lied to everybody. And she didn't mind the publicity then. And I'm going to guess once she's finished with all of this, she's not going to mind the publicity later, because there's already, I think it's a 6-part series being made, of course, a documentary. And I hope like heck she's not in it. But I wouldn't doubt that documentary makers wanting people to watch it will give her an opportunity to be in that documentary. Isn't that nice? Crime does pay. Now, I don't know where she's being confined at. She supposedly, let's see where it says here, she has to be community confinement. Let's see what it means. Means Papini is either in home confinement or a residential reentry center known as a halfway house. Well, she doesn't seem to be too far from where she originally was, so I'm going to guess mommy took her back, mommy and daddy, because they felt so bad for everything that happened to her anyway. I don't know about her husband Keith. There were articles way back when, because I often call a husband of a person like this adult. In other words, he doesn't realize what he's married to, and he's just he's a nice guy, and as long as everything is going okay for him, he doesn't really realize that she is who she is. And now he said he felt like an idiot afterwards, and he filed for divorce, but I've never seen any proof that he actually went through with the divorce. So I still have a question in my mind, because sometimes these guys, the spouses of people who do things like this, will go right back with them. Let's wait and see where her home confinement is going to be, with her family, like father and mother, or with her husband. Will he let her come home? He said he was just going to give his kids a life someplace else. Now she's out of prison. I don't know how much right she's going to have for custody or visitation and all that stuff. But so she's going to be somewhere out there. She has predicted release date of October 29th, 2023. After this date, she's no longer confined anyplace. Now, let's see. She was given she was given 18 months. That was it, in order to pay $300,000 in restitution to the state, which she's got 20 years to pay. And it all depends if she has enough money to pay it, you see. I wanted her to get way more than that for doing what she did. And I'm glad she at least got 18 months, and she got out 6 months early for good behavior, because she probably knows how to manipulate. That's the kind of person she is. And this thing, I think, deserves nothing less than 5 years, this kind of nonsense. But there's often this pity thing going for women like this, and they're like, oh, she must have emotional problems. All right, so that's what I'm getting to with this video. Now, I want to talk about does she have, or should she be classified as Munchausen syndrome, or should she be classified as a psychopath, or both? Now, I just did this for Lucy Letby. I said, does Lucy Letby have what is called Munchausen syndrome by proxy? Or is she a psychopath? Is she a serial killer, or all three? My conclusion was all three. So in this video, I just want to talk about, she's not a serial killer. She didn't kill anybody, but she did commit this huge hoax. And the hoax was based on, I am a victim, and people did bad things to me. They kidnapped me, they tortured me, and look at this, look at the injuries I have. This aligns with what's called Munchausen syndrome, also known as fictitious disorder, the newer terminology, which I don't like. So I'm going to go back to Munchausen syndrome. Let me clear up again the misunderstanding of Munchausen syndrome. Now here, if you look on the internet, it'll say Munchausen syndrome is a disorder in which people, mostly women, do things to themselves, harm themselves in order to get attention. They can cut themselves, they can beat themselves, they can make themselves sick to get attention. They can also make claims like I was raped when they weren't raped. Somebody hurt me when they didn't hurt them. So to get attention to themselves, they fabricate stories, or even injure themselves to create the story. It looks real. That people call a disorder, a psychiatric disorder. I disagree. Just like I do not think Munchausen syndrome by proxy is a disorder, I think it is a behavior of psychopathy. So when you hurt your children, or claim your children are hurt, or claim your children are sick to get attention, or when you kill child after child of your own or somebody else's child, or you kill elderly people at the nursing home, or you kill children you're taking care of in daycare, when you do this to gain attention, to gain power and control, well, you're a serial killer. You're a psychopath. You murder other people. You are a psychopath and a serial killer. But the Munchausen syndrome by proxy comes in with your choice of victims and how you get that power and control, how you get that attention. So Munchausen syndrome by proxy simply means you use other little people, little defenseless people, not in a rape, kind of a sexual homicide like a male. But that's why it's usually females, although some men have been those who, have done things. They've been anesthesiologists or nurses themselves and done these similar types of things, but mostly women, because women for centuries get their power and control in different ways than men. So a lot of the ways of getting power and control is to be a victim or to do something in a motherly way. So going to the doctor to say, oh, look at my little baby, it's sick. They look at you, oh, poor mommy, and they give you attention while they take care of that baby. And if the baby dies, they give you more attention for having a dead baby. Oh, your child died of SIDS. Now, if your child really died of SIDS, you deserve all that attention. But when you kill your child and people just think it was SIDS, well, you get the same attention, only you created it by killing your child. So you are a psychopath. You are a killer. You just use these pawns of yours to get this power, control, and attention. So it is not a syndrome. It is not a psychological disorder. It is a behavior of psychopathy. All right. So it's like saying being a rapist is a psychological disorder. It's not. It's a behavior of rape is a behavior of psychopathy. Any serial homicide is a behavior of psychopathy. It's not you don't have serial homicide disorder. You're a psychopath who likes to commit serial homicides. Well, now we go to people who aren't killers. Munchausen syndrome is doing it to yourself to get attention, or claiming things have been done to you to get attention. Well, I don't know the entire history of Sherri Papini. They've kept that kind of under wraps, but her mother did call the police once to say she had harmed herself, caused injuries to herself, and is claiming that her parents harmed her. So there you go. She's doing the Munchausen syndrome thing. And this hoax thing is another Munchausen syndrome thing. Look what happened to me. I am a victim. And she's had some other things in her life where she portrays herself as a victim. And I don't know how much other Munchausen-y stuff she's done. I don't know, in her long history of marriage, of being a mother, I don't know what she's done, because we haven't gotten a really in-depth view of her life before marriage and after marriage. But I'm going to say, if she was the kind of person who harmed herself in her parents' home and blamed her parents, and they called the police over it, she has done this more than once. If she's done it then, and she did it in this huge hoax thing, my gosh, I'm going to say she probably has Munchausen syndrome all over the place. I don't know what she's claimed in the past. That somebody hit her car when they didn't. Somebody hit her when they didn't. Gosh knows. I don't know. But those things that are very evident, the harming of herself in order to blame her parents and to commit a massive hoax like this to gain attention, that's a Munchausen's what's called Munchausen syndrome, but it is not a disorder. It's just a behavior of being a psychopath. Now, some people say, oh my God, how can you call her a psychopath? I can. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I am not diagnosing her as a psychopath. I am not. I'm just saying if the shoe sort of fits, she's probably going to be wearing it. Anybody who would do what she did to her kids, to her husband, to her family, to the community, to blaming Hispanic women for kidnapping her, to get everybody in the world looking for her. And then after she got caught, she continued to lie and lie and lie and lie. Those are all traits of a psychopath. So, does she exhibit Munchausen syndrome? Yes, as a trait of what appears to be psychopathy. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens now. People are fascinated by her because people are fascinated by people who do things that we would not do. How many of us would pretend to be kidnapped and hide out and then injure ourselves in order to say this? How many of us could go to the hospital, the police station, and keep lying when we have little children and a spouse? Well, how could we do this? Well, we couldn't if we're not psychopaths. All right. So now she's going to come. She's out. She's going to do a little community thingy, and now she's going to become a little celebrity. And if I swear to God, I would not be surprised she's going to be in this documentary. And if she's in this documentary, I say to those documentary makers, shame on you. You are just about making money and you don't care about ethics, because this woman should never get that kind of publicity. And she'll come on there and she will give her sob story. She will now say she has received, I'll tell you what she's going to say. She will say that she was under great stress and that she's kind of lost her mind. She didn't know what to do, so she ran off, and then she didn't know how to deal with it, so she had to lie about it because she was ashamed of herself. And then she's going to say during the time she was in the federal pen, she was able to get help, and now that she's out, she's getting more psychological help, and she's learning to understand herself, and she's hoping everybody can. I don't know if everybody can forgive me for what I did, but I hope they can, because it was one of those times in my life, kind of like crazy plane lady, But now, don't be a bully. Don't be internet bullies. Don't be mean to me, And she's got that look, and boy, that look helps. She's a very attractive woman. She has a sweet look at her. Oh, come on, she's sweet, She has an ability to be sweet, because I'm going to guess she's used manipulation for the majority of her life to get attention from people. And people keep forgiving her and forgiving her and forgiving her for what she does, because she probably plays I'm so sorry I did that and I couldn't help myself. Blah, 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 blah. And then God help you if you are somebody that she's dealing with, because if Keith figured it out, my goodness, that's who you married. And she was manipulating you probably through your marriage, and you just kept falling for everything she said. Well, God knows what she came home and said people did to her, and you felt bad for her until you realized that she was not going to say. She'll probably say that about you now. I had a terrible marriage, and my husband wasn't nice to me. Now she's probably going to say that. So be ready, Keith, if you didn't take her back already. Please do not do that. And the children, the poor children. There's people out there, and I know some of you out there have been the child of a person who's a narcissist, a person who exhibits Munchausen syndrome. And narcissism is part of psychopathy, by the way. And when you have a mother like that, or a father, you are their pawns, and they keep making you feel bad for stuff they do. And you end up in this horrible situation for a good portion of your life. And I've even seen people who their mothers are now in their 80s and they're in their 60s, and they still can't manage to figure out what the heck is going on. They still feel that love for their mother, or the desire to love their mother, and their mother is still manipulating them and making their lives freaking miserable. And it's so sad. And sometimes I can't remember who said that. I didn't know if it's Ann Landers. Oh, no, I think it was who said this? Now I'm blanking on her name. But she said when somebody asked her, "What do I do about my mother?" Um, because she's acted in all these ways through so much of her life, and she told her, she said, "Look, your mother's like a spider. She spins her web around you, and she traps you in it, and then you get stuck in it, and the problem is, even if you escape from it, you keep getting too close to that spider, and she keeps doing it to you over and over again. You have to leave the spider alone because it's a spider. You have to understand that sometimes your mom, your daughter, your sister, whomever in your life, they might be that spider, and they will keep doing that to you. And you may want to love them, but you have to understand they do not love you. They use you. Because one of the keys of psychopathy is you're either useful or you're in the way, but you are not a human being to them. They don't have that kind of empathy for you. So they may think you're cute and keep you around like a puppy. I mean, some people like they're very nice to puppy because puppy's cute and you pet it and it goes and it sits in and it sits in your lap and all that crap and you like the puppy, but then the puppy starts pooping on your rug and starts barking at the wrong hours, and so a psychopath will just kill the puppy, and people will go, "Oh my God, I thought they loved that puppy." Well, they liked it perfectly fine until it annoyed them. So that's the problem. When you have a spider for a relative, you need to get away from the spider. I think Keith needs to get away from this woman. I think the children need to be away, but she's going to play this. Now that she's free, she's going to play that she's recovered, that she's gotten help, and she's not really the person that she used to be, and she's no longer a person who does these things. But psychopathy, if she is one of those, she cannot fix that. Oh, I just remembered the name. Sorry. I was like, Dr. Laura. Dr. Laura was the one that did the thing about the spider stuff. So, and I just remember her saying the spider stuff. I want to give her credit for it because I thought that was just a great analogy, calling, that's what you like, a spider in a web. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Anyway, so yeah, the problem is she will play this new game. She no doubt played it in prison, which is why she got out 6 months early. She will play the new game. And the problem is sometimes she'll seem really nice again. And the children will want to, oh my gosh, I got my mommy back. And Keith even might say, I've got my wife back. But she will play the game forever, because if she is a psychopath, if she is, and I can't diagnose her as such, they do not change. They are not curable. They do not go to therapy and become better. What happens in therapy is they learn different methodologies of fooling people. They learn what they can't do because, hey, that didn't work last time because I got caught. So do this because this will fool them better. That's what they learn. And they will use you again. And sometimes what will happen is they'll appear, they'll appear like they're okay. And they may even pull off the game for quite a while. But you always have to watch your back. I remember this guy, he was on a television show. It just made me laugh because the wife poisoned him. Well, the wife gave him medicine like she was trying to kill him through the medicine. And what happened was she got frustrated because it didn't work, so she shot him. And then because she had given him the medicine, it slowed down his blood enough so he didn't bleed very much after he got shot. So he actually didn't die from that either. So he ended up, being saved. She ended up going to prison for attempted murder. And after she got out of prison, the dude got back together with her. And they asked on this show, they're like, how do you sleep at night? And he goes, not very well. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? A woman tried to kill you. But now, see, she convinced him that she must have been under some stress in the marriage and she lost her mind. So he lets the spider back in. She's going to make another little web around him. What a fool. Don't be a fool. Don't be fooled. Okay. I understand, your heart gets all hooked up because they're good at what they do. I will swear she'll come out. She's going to be very lovable in that documentary if she gets it. People are going to start feeling sorry for her and say, hey, she did her time. Forgive her. Let her go on with her life. We'll have to see. Will she show up in the documentary? Did her husband really divorce her? Will he take her back? And will she become the new media? The media. Oh, what do you want to call them? The media loves a recovered person. The media loves a story. Oh, that's right. She's going to write a book. Of course, she's going to write a book. My Story by Sherri Papini. And we're all going to hear about her story, and it's all going to be manipulated lies. And you're going to, when you finish it, and I've seen this with other people who've written phony stuff like this. I've seen a lot of people who are recovered alcoholics, recovered narcotics, any kind of issues that they've had, struggled with their life, and have recovered from. They will read this book and say, "Oh my God! Oh, I feel so." Yeah, she's managed to get her life back together again. She's put in the work to become a healthy person. I love her and I respect her, and they give her 5 stars, and she makes a freaking $1 million because she's got a nice contract that she'll get off of something like HarperCollins. My Story by Sherri Papini. So I would like to place some bets. I should start it. We can't do that on YouTube. We can't place bets, but I would place a bet on documentary, book, maybe even going home to her hubby, Let's see if I'm wrong. Maybe she'll just do what she should do, which is disappear and just live a quiet little life and not bother any of us again. But I'm going to say she'll be back. She will. Anyway, those are my thoughts. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. It is an educational channel, and your support does help a great deal. And I did a link below. You'll find my original analysis of the case. I was one of the earlier people to come out and say, I think this is not an abduction. She wasn't, I think this is a hoax. And I got a lot of flack for it, and then turned out, yeah, in that case, I was right. Because I said the story didn't add up. I didn't believe it. And so I'll link that below. And yeah, so anyway, I'll see you next time, and let's see if I'm right. Bye.